All my friends are saying, this is not a priority. People are dying, and I realize that, but they can't get their nails done. One of my friends called me yesterday. She said, I just heard in my apartment building someone has it. One of my really good friends lives in that area. She owns those Chicken Salad Chicks restaurants. One of my friends has a son who's about to go to high school. I have a friend down in Florida, and her dad has a concrete trucking business. In Florida, I have a friend who's trying to buy a house down there and needs a contractor and needs an architect, but they can't find the painters. Well, they could be like some of my friends where they just moved down there for the pandemic and then they decided to stay. I have a friend that's on Obamacare. She said her biggest problem is she gets like the B-tier doctors and she wants the A-tier doctors and she can't get appointments with them. And I do have friends that are anti-vaxxers. One of my good friends is in Hawaii and she texted me yesterday. She said, will you ask some people who are experts on helicopters? Her whole family was going to get in a helicopter and go around some of the islands to see them because they do this like tourist thing.
Yeah.
She's really nervous about it. A friend of mine, her daughter wanted to go to Times Square to take pictures after prom. People were stranded. I had a friend that was stranded for 4 to 5 hours. My friend who lives in Atlanta says she thinks about it every time she and her husband go out to dinner. My friend who lives there, she lives in Dunedin. Well, actually, they just moved to Harbor, something Harbor. Sorry, Charlie, I always assume it's a man, but my best friend's daughter's Charlie.
Because she knows everything about Brad Pitt.
No,
Yeah.
one of my
how did
friend's
you know
mom
that?
taught at the school where he went. I have my friends out on Long Island. I was talking to a friend of mine, one of my friend who lives in that area. I have a friend here at Fox that I always talk to. My friend who lives there says I think about it every time I walk out my front door. One of my friends was in a Broadway play the other day and Hillary was there. One of my friends was visiting this weekend and she went to Texas Tech. She was so excited. One of my friends ordered a Bloody Mary. One of my friends owns a business. One of my friends, back in the early days of Bitcoin, she bought 25 of them. A friend of mine who lives in Florida, her school, they didn't have to wear masks the entire school, the entire year. It's a private school, and one of her friends was telling me she took her kids out of the original school because it was going to be a mask. You had to wear masks and enrolled them in my other friend's school.